Now, I have another product to make. Something that I had in my head at the time was I wanted to try tumblers, but I thought I'll keep it for the wildflower collection, very summery, and HTVRONT have kindly gifted me 2 types of tumblers to try. The first tumbler we have is a frosted glass tumbler, and with this one what I would really love it to do is do the wildflower design that is kind of the same as the pin. And then we have a 20-ounce tumbler, so it's a metal tumbler which is white all the way around, so I'm going to try and do a design that wraps around seamlessly. On this one I want it to be like this design, so it's got the quote on. I don't know what colour I'm going to do the quote though, because it's not going to be gold like everything else. And then the flowers wrapping all the way round and joining up. Good morning everyone, and welcome to a brand new vlog. It is a brand new week and it is less than 2 weeks to Stationery Fest, and I feel so nervous. Yesterday I did a little bit of work on something else so that I could just concentrate on Stationery Fest today, and I was like, I need to do some work because I feel sick. I'm just stressed. The time is ticking down. I have finished my wholesale order going to Japan. Yes! Which means I can just concentrate on Stationery Fest now. That's being picked up today, and I will have a full vlog on that, which will probably come after Stationery Fest, so that I can share all the build up to the event, which I'm so excited about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Stationery Fest is on Saturday the 29th of June. It is a stationery lovers paradise. It's a full day event where you can come along and shop, I think around 90 businesses ranging from small to large, get your hands on some fabulous goodies, and there's also a VIP area where you can attend talks and workshops, and in the shopping area there's like creative activities you can join in with. It's just a really fun day. I went last year and I'm so excited to attend again this year with my shop. As you saw in last week's vlog, I left you on a bit of a cliffhanger, which was very mean. I'm not EastEnders. I don't know why I did that to you. I'm very sorry, and thank you for those of you in the comments that forgave me. So today, it's Monday morning, and today is going to be all about testing new products. So I promise I will not leave this vlog until we have done that. I do also need to nip out to have my nails done, but that's by the by. So we're going to start with the tumblers that I showed in last week's vlog. I have 2 designs, one for a frosted tumbler and one for a stainless steel tumbler. This is going to be the tricky one, I think, because I want to try and do a seamless design if I can. It might be easier just not to try to do that. We'll see. So we're going to start with this one, and then once I've done the tumblers, if I can do the tumblers and crack the tumblers, not literally crack the tumblers, we are going to unbox a brand new machine and try a brand new type of product that we've not tried to make before, which is very, very exciting, which I've been teasing for a couple of weeks. So again, I'm very sorry. Can you tell I've got nervous energy this morning? I'm talking a million miles an hour. I've done my designs for the tumblers. I did that last week. So first things first, I need to head over to my sublimation printer and I need to print out the wraps for the tumblers, get my mug press all heated up, and then we're just going to jump in and give it a try. I think when you're making a new product, sometimes you just need to go in for the first one, see what happens, and roll from there. So let's give it a go. So I've come across the first hurdle is that the instructions say to use the heat press at 400 degrees, but the heat press only goes to 390 degrees, but they're the same brand. So I'm like, what do I do there? So I've just put an extra 5 seconds on the time and we'll see what I can do. There we go, it's just preheated. So I've got my wrap. I've remembered to flip the text. For some reason my print settings have changed, so I couldn't put it on the settings I usually would, so that's a new one. But I'm gonna just try and tape it and see how we go. Oh, look at that for perfect size. There we go. I don't know if I need to take the top and bottom. I think we'll be fine, let's just see, because the design only comes up to like there. There's a gap at the top and a gap at the bottom. So it should be sufficiently tight enough, but let's see. Ooh, okay, so it's ready to go in. I'm gonna do it for 95 seconds instead of 90 seconds. Let's try. It's the only way we're gonna learn. Ooh. So if you can see, there's a slight gap there. So I think I'm going to need to turn it after half the time to make sure that bit gets pressed. So I'm going to have to try and stop it after half the time, maybe. So I hadn't thought of that, so loving this look. So in the instructions, weirdly, it shows like a traditional mug press, not the auto tumbler press, which is bizarre because they both come from the same company. So I was just following these, but then having spotted the gap, I've rotated it halfway round. I don't know. I'm going to take this out and peel it and just see what we ended up with. Anything? Oh, ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay, that's really pretty. First thing is I accidentally cut off the end of my flower because there was tape in the way. Second thing is I think I could increase the colours, just make it a little bit brighter. Like I said, I wanted to do that in the print settings, but the print settings have changed on me, all the menus and stuff, but I think this is super pretty. Do I like how the quote goes around the bottom? You kind of have to like read it round. I'm not sure yet, but all in all, I think that's really pretty. I love how the flowers wrap around the tumbler, but we're going to need to do some research because you can see here is one of the places where it didn't press for as long. So this bit was in the gap for a little bit and you can tell the blacks aren't as saturated as in the other areas. And then I think it's probably there. You can't see that as well, but I spotted that bit straight away because those orange flowers don't look as bright and like these two don't look as bright as this one. So, okay, research time. Off we pop. Okay, so while I'm taping a second tumbler, on this one, I'm going to try just with a smaller quote with it repeated twice and see which I like better. But I watched some YouTube videos on using frosted tumblers with this heat press, and interestingly, they were saying press at 380 for 240 seconds, turn it and do 240 seconds, whereas the instructions said 400 for 90 seconds. So that seems like a big difference to me, but we're just going to do it and give it a whirl. So let's get tape in and we'll get it in the press. Let's not set the paper on fire. You see my eyes watering? In multiple videos they said use butcher paper and put it in the tumbler press to protect your press from any ink that might leak from the sublimation design, and I thought, well, I better do the same so that in case it affects the timings. However, don't do that. Don't do that at home. I think I probably could have set my tumbler press on fire. Just don't do that, okay? Don't do that. Don't do that. I've spun it. And the way I've done it is where I did the tape seam, I put that to the side nearest me and kind of used that as my guide, and then I rotated it so it was the side furthest away from me. I've put it in for another 240 seconds, and then if it doesn't spontaneously combust in that time, I'll unwrap it and we'll see the results. So I've got a feeling this is going to be overdone. I don't know. If you look inside, you can always see, like, if it looks nice and vibrant, it should be fully pressed onto there and have a really nice transfer. But the black lines to me look like they've gone a bit blurry, and I'm wondering if that means they're too done. Or maybe it just means they're very well pressed. So, shall we unwrap it? Side note is, I just showed my husband the first prototype and he was very impressed with that, so that gives me confidence. Oh, this is very, very hot. Huh. I'm going to have to find out how long other people press their tumblers for. Is this normal? Should I let it cool? I feel like I've seen people dunk it in cold water afterwards, but obviously after they've taken the paper off. I properly tucked it in this time as well. I put tape all the way around. Oh, even with the heat resistant gloves on, that's boiling. I would just like some improvement. I am also mindful that I've only got 4 testers and we are 2 down. Oh. Oh. Yes. That's too long. That's too long. I don't know what they're thinking. Okay. Pros and cons. I will say that the colour is nice and even all the way around. We haven't got that thing where it's faded. However, this was very crisp. Lines, crisp colours. This has gone a bit more faded. The lines are like blurred out and the colours are blurred out. I think it's just burnt. Do I like the smaller quote? I'm not sure. Is this the new one? Yeah. There are some parts of it that are nice and crisp, and I wonder if that's the bit that only got pressed once, like where the gap was. Because if you see this bit, it's the same bit again down here. That's really crisp, black lines, really clear. So I think we probably need to go somewhere between the two, because that was an extreme time jump. So what if I did like 240 seconds total, so like 120 and 120? Because the first time I did 45 and 45. The second time I did 240 and 240. However that woman is doing that in that video I watched, I'll never know. Perhaps she could have got a more crisp print with less time. I'm going to pop it back on for 120. I'll print another one, tape it up, we'll press it and I'll show you the results. Okay, that inside looks nice and like bright colours, saturated, but also crisp lines. So I'm hoping that that is going to be the one, but let's unravel. Ow. I don't have the patience to wait for it to cool down, but it's extremely hot. Oh. Okay. Hello? Oh. Oh, that's pretty. Oh, that's it. That's really pretty. Oh, that's so pretty. Okay, so let me show you, hold on. Okay, big shout out to Daisy and Pixie. I messaged some in a small business group I'm in and was like, anybody help with these times and temperatures? And see, it's all about who you know. So here is the tumbler. So I might increase the size slightly so that it's taller and so that there's less of a gap here. Just close that close that gap in slightly. But look at the flowers. Beautiful pastel-y colours. Absolutely love. And I think I prefer the smaller quote going round twice because I think this is just a bit too chunky for like the delicate flowers, but we'll see what people say later because I've put on my Instagram stories that I'm going to go live at 4 o'clock today to show off the tumblers that I've made so far and get people's opinions on them. And so we'll see what people like and don't like. But with my last tester, I might just do one more, making it slightly bigger. And then I need to move on to the Believe tumblers, the stainless steel ones, because I've got to go out in like half an hour to get my nails done. And then when I get back, it's not that long and I need to do this live. So I need to get a wriggle on. So with this one, I made it larger and I actually cut around the design so that there was space for this flower to come over here and this flower to come over here, just to make that wrap tighter. I think the text might be slightly too close together, but we're going to peel it and have a look. And I'm hoping it's the best one, but I know that I definitely love these and I need to order some more tumblers because I need to perfect them and actually have some to sell. The ones I'm not happy with will be saved for future for another second sale, but I won't be doing another second sale for at least 6 months. It'll probably be the end of the year or the beginning of next year. I don't do them super often, so that's the plan. Okay, yeah, that's adorable. Adorable. Oh. So, here it is. Here's where I've brought it closer together. I don't know if it needs something there, but that would be a pain in the bum to do, but I've just brought those closer in now. And it goes like this. I absolutely love that. So we'll see what people think on the live later. I'll let that cool. And now I am just wrapping the stainless steel tumbler. Now I can already tell, now that I've printed it, that it's not going to pattern match at this size. I don't know why, because I got a template for this size of tumbler, but the two sides don't meet. There's a bit of an overlap. But I'm just going to tape it and see how it looks without a complete pattern match and if it looks dreadful. And then I'm going to figure out whether I need to resize the design. So let's get to taping. So we're all taped around the bottom, we're all taped in the top and down the side, so it should be super tight. In we go. My eyes are watering again. When I rotated it, there's something in there it doesn't like. It was a bit steamy. Am I gonna blow it up? Doesn't smell. I mean, we've only got 30 more seconds, so hopefully we can withstand that. I'm really stressing myself out. I'm gonna leave this one for 5 and then we'll peel it. So in a cruel twist, I didn't have time to unwrap it before I went to get my nails done. They are now done. I asked for, it's like dried flowers and glitter. I don't know how well it's gonna show up on here with just some pinky in homage to my wildflower collection. So anyway, it's now 3:15. That's 3 hours of my life gone. Let's unwrap this tumbler and see what it looks like. At least it's cold now and I can touch it. Ooh. Ooh. I mean, it's blue, but it's also grainy. There we go. Oh, that's cute. Oh. Oh, that is cute. Okay. Where's the seam? The seam's there. The seam's not the best. Okay. So, this is what it looks like. It's very cute. Let me turn the light down a bit so you can see. So, it's a nice pale blue. I've gone for pink and orange in the centre of the heart. So, it's a bit reflective, so it's a bit hard to see. Yes, a bit reflective. I went for pink text, which looks very cute, but the whole thing is just very sort of dotty and grainy, and I don't know if that's because I haven't pressed it long enough or something to do with the print settings, but this is a seam and you can see it doesn't match at all. So I'm going to measure round this and adjust my design, and then on the bottom the design just kind of like goes around a bit, and then you would stick this on so it kind of just fades on the bottom, and I don't know whether to just cut it off, just have a clear line rather than it being sort of wishy-washy. So that's what I'm gonna do now. Also, maybe some people on the live streams can help me. I'm supposed to be doing this YouTube live in 40 minutes, so wish me luck. Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing okay. I am currently halfway through pressing a tumbler, so I am about to rotate it. So I've got my snazzy goalkeeper gloves on. Rotate, rotate. There we go. Yes, I have been very, very busy, if you can hear me over the tumbler press, trying out new products today, including a frosted tumbler and a stainless steel tumbler. And it's very trial and error this morning. It's been very prototype day. If you're ready, let's see some tumblers. So this, if you are ready, it needs a bit of a wipe down, is my wildflower frosted tumbler. So it matches the design on the washi tape, it matches the design on the enamel pin. I might grab that in a sec. Emily says it looks so good. Lauren says I love that so much. Oh, thank you so much. May need to break the no new cups rule that I've been given. Sneak it in, sneak it in. No one will notice. And then I've got some skinny 20-ounce tumblers, and I wanted this one to match my Believe range that's coming out. The first one I printed is like this, so it's got flowers all the way around in orange and pink. And then the quote says, which is very blurry on this one, it's amazing what can happen if you choose to believe in yourself. But if you can see, it's like super grainy. But I've just popped this one, Blue Peter style, in the press. So you'll get a live reaction. We'll see if this one's turned out better. Okay, we're closer. So this is the new one. That's closer, that's a lot closer. Like the difference there is night and day. So it's got that much deeper bluey purple. The colours are much richer. You can read the quote a lot easier. But here's how it looks all the way around. It sort of looks like a little vase without the lid. But the seam is there. And as you can see, it's not quite And I think I might be making my life very, very difficult for myself, and that it'll never be 100%, and therefore will everyone feel like a second tumbler. I don't know if I need to just adjust the design and not have it wrapping, if that makes sense, as in not have it joining up. Have it so, yeah, there's almost little flowers back and forth there, and maybe this side to make it symmetrical. I'm not sure. I'll have a go at that. So I've changed the design again following my Instagram live, which was really good. It was really good to get feedback on the tumblers and to hear people loving them. I've just come to show you the change, and someone started mowing their lawn, so I'm really sorry if you can hear it. So what I've done, this is my new design wrap, is you'll see there's no flowers anymore that overlap on the edge here or here, and also down the middle, because I kind of wanted it to be symmetrical. To be honest, I don't really notice it that much because I tried to get some as close as possible. So I'm hoping that'll be a better solution than trying to match it like this. Oh, you didn't see this up close, did you? So this is the one from the Instagram live, the second attempt, and this is the edge with the seam, and you can see just the flowers are never going to match perfectly. So the people of Instagram spoke and said, you're setting yourself up for failure, don't do it. I also shared on my Instagram live that I was having problems with my printer, and I could tell that the printouts were quite grainy, and I think that's contributed especially to this one. So I've done a firmware update and restarted my laptop, and then it printed much clearer like this. But because I didn't know that was the issue, I upped the saturation, and I think that's gone too far the other way. So you can see the difference here. So this is one of the ones I printed before I updated the settings, and this is the new one. It's much clearer and the colours are richer. I've just put the saturation back to normal as it is, and because there are a few areas of blurring on this one, like here, as I'm taping this, I'm going to watch a video of somebody's like how to tape a tumbler like a pro tutorial, and if it's good I'll link it in the description. So let's get taping again. So it says do that, do that, do that.
Then we want to finish taping around the top. We're going to put a piece of sublimation tape on that vertical piece that we just added, and we're going to press it from one end to the other.
Okay, so that is taped to within an inch of its life. I don't think it could be tighter. It's a very neat seam down there, if I do say so myself. What the video I was using recommended was to get stretchy tape, so tape with a bit of stretch in it, tape it one side and then pull it to meet like in the middle, and then tape it to the second side. My tape doesn't have any stretch in it. I think that's probably a bit of trial and error with different brands. However, I think I've squeezed it with my hands enough to meet it, so we'll see. So I'm going to pop it in the heat press. I'm going to do the same again, 65 seconds, turn 65 seconds, and we'll see how it turns out.
The rolling steps, because you don't want that ghosting on the top and the bottom. Even with a tumbler that isn't seamless, that can still be an issue.
Okay. This is painful. So, it's so much better. I know there's a bit of glare, so it's hard to see, but this blue is, yeah, it's the bluey purple that is closer to how it is. It is coming off more purple, to be honest, than the washi tape, which is coming off more blue. And there is a white line where the seam is like all the way down here. So it's closer, but it's not the one. I wonder if it needs pressing for less time. The way I've done the design and how I've like pulled the flowers close to the edge but not overlapping, I just don't like how it lines up. So I need a break. I'm gonna go walk my dog, walk this off, and then have some dinner, and then I'm gonna edit the design again later, and then I may come out later and try another one, or I might leave it till tomorrow morning when I'm bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. So I'll see you whenever I reappear. Hi everyone, happy Tuesday. I am back in my studio ready to give these tumblers another try. I got to crack it today. I did have a play around with different designs last night. I didn't come back out here, but I sat inside playing around with some different designs, and I saw a tumbler which gave me some inspiration for something that I think could solve some pressing problems and look super cool. So let me show you the design I've created. I've completely changed it around. So this is the new design. Obviously it's back to front, and the way I've set it up, it almost looks like torn paper, and I thought that could fit really cool at like a stationery lovers event. And so I'm going to try doing it like that. And then I've taken the quote out of the flowers because I don't know, I didn't like so much how it was just sitting in this section. So I've taken the quote out. It now runs down the side, and I'm going to try it in an orange because I think that's the colour that's going to pop the most. I had a play around just on the laptop with pink, blue and orange, and the orange seemed to pop the most. So I'm going to try the orange, and so I've blown the quote up, it'll run down the side, and then I've also increased the size of the flowers quite a lot. So instead of having lots of teeny tiny ones, I think it'll make more of an impact. I'm also going to have a play around with the times and temperatures because I've still not cracked it on this tumbler. Again, the advice is kind of wide ranging, and there's quite wide time like recommendations, I guess, because each product you're sublimating on is slightly different. What I'm trying to say is one stainless steel tumbler from one company and another from another company, like they might not necessarily press exactly the same. So I've unwrapped another tumbler. We're on number 4. I have read that it is important to tape down every edge as tight as possible, so I will continue trying to do that. I thought I did, but we'll just keep trying to do it as tight as humanly possible. The last one was pretty good, but the colour was a bit patchy, so I've dropped the temperature slightly, but I've increased the time. So I'm going to try 380 for 80 seconds. Flip it, 80 seconds. We'll see. So let's get taping again. So I used a different template to make this, and I don't think it's quite tall enough, but let's see how it looks. This is not bad, you know. This time and temperature's not bad. I might just try it for slightly longer, but look how cute the flowers turned out. I really like the larger flowers. Yeah, I think it just needs doing for slightly longer. Then I really love this scrapbooky edge, but I think it's too wide. I think it needs to come in closer to the quote. And I think, oh, it's upside down. Yeah, I think it needs to come in closer to the quote. And I really like how this finishes on a clean line rather than it coming underneath, but it needs to be longer. But I really like the effect of like this torn edge. I just need to have a play around with how I'm gonna put the quote in between it because I'm not very keen on that. Okay, let's go and have a play. Hi everyone, I am frustrated to tell you that it is now 3:30. And I haven't even started on the other items I said I wanted to make in this vlog, but don't worry, I won't leave without doing it. However, I am still messing around with the stainless steel tumblers. It's like a combination of getting the technique right, they're really hard to do, and finding a design I like. So I thought I quite liked the scrapbooky rip paper type look. Then I showed my husband and he said, it looks like if someone was walking down the street with it, like it wouldn't look intentional. It looks like some of the designers rubbed off. And I was like, well, I can't have that. And now you've put that in my head. That's just a fact. So that went out the window. So then I went back to the drawing board. What could I do instead? I did this one, which I really liked. but there's a seam line here. I don't know how to get around that, and it's not perfect. So I've adjusted the design again, but like taking it from this design to this design took like an hour. Every time I try and remake the design a different way, we're losing like an hour's worth of time. So the day has disappeared. So I have given it one more go to try and get this right. I'm currently unwrapping, and whatever happens when I open this is the last one I'm doing today. And it may be that I just have to perfect it bit by bit before Stationery Fest, but I can't just keep devoting days upon days without doing other things. And I want to get to opening this new machine. So this is going to be the last one, whatever it looks like. So let's try and unwrap it if we can. There's that, it's taped to within an inch of its life in an effort to avoid blurring. There we go. Most of the tape is off. Let's unwrap it. I'm scared. That might be, oh, why has it got black on it? I've also been experiencing printer problems again. Let's throw it out to you guys like I do in every vlog. I have a sublimation printer. It's an Epson ET2810 that I converted into a sublimation printer, and it likes to blob black ink on my pages when I'm printing stuff, and that isn't really the look I'm going for. And you can see here, I didn't spot it when it went in the press, but there is a black blob there. You can't see it at the moment. However, this is the best one I've done so far, and I'm reasonably happy. So I've changed this back into cream, the same as the flowers. I'm hoping the camera's going to pick this up. There's just that much going on in the background. So we have, this needs to be a little bit more blue, but the pretty flowers go all the way around. And then we have this fun swooshy line, which has the quote on it, and it says, "It's amazing what can happen if you choose to believe in yourself." So it goes all the way around, and then you can see like it comes up there, goes down there. And then here I've just not put flowers so that they don't go over, and I haven't got a pattern match. If you can see that, there you go, that's clearer. But what you do get is a very faint line that's darker where the seam is, and I kind of think that's an inevitable. Would that bother you if you had that on yours? I do still need to get the timing right. This isn't quite right because there is some blurring at the bottom, and I mean, I couldn't have taped this tighter if I tried. I used so much tape. I was probably taping it for about 10 minutes, which is ridiculous, but overall, I think, yeah, that's interesting to see, because look at the time difference. I thought this was too much, but this is really pale. Mind you, this I did with CMYK settings, and this I did with RGB, so, But anyway, I'm happy with this. This is how it'll look with the lid on. As an overall design, I love it. All I need to do now is perfect the time and temperature, but I love this design and I would love to know what you think. But now, that's way too long I've spent on tumblers. However, just before we move on, how cute actually are these? Let's just, although I'm frustrated right now because I spent so much time, can we just take in the beauty that is these tumblers and have a moment where I should be proud of myself? That's what I need to be telling myself. I don't need to be getting down on myself. It took as long as it took because I'm learning 2 new things all in one go under time pressure. So I need to be a little bit easier on myself. And now we're going to learn a 3rd new thing because I have a brand new machine. It is here. I don't know if you can see it yet, but I need to send a big thank you to Loklik for sending me their brand new hat press to try. Now, you might have guessed that this is the item that I have been saying that I want to try in upcoming vlogs, because there were some mentions of hats in other videos. I mentioned bucket hats after I bought a bucket hat on my trip to South Korea. Now, I'm not going to do bucket hats because the only feedback I got about bucket hats was a couple of people saying they liked mine but they wouldn't personally wear one, and nobody commented and said, yes, do bucket hats. So we're not doing bucket hats. The bucket hats were always an additional in my mind anyway, but I really want to try baseball caps. I've been getting really into going on my dog walk on a sunny day with my little cap on to keep the sun out of my eyes. My husband calls it going into celeb mode. He says I look like a celebrity going incognito when I've got my cap and my sunglasses on. Not sure who I'm hiding from, but I'm loving the look. And I wanted to create some cute wildflower baseball caps, and I think they're going to be super cute. And so when Loklik reached out with their hat press and said, we've got a new machine, would you like to try it? I was like, yes, perfect timing, everything is aligned, let's make hats. So let's open the box and see how this works. Okay, so these are the different parts it's come with. We have a snazzy little bag to keep it in. This was on here, and obviously the cord would be wrapped around it. And then I think you can fit this on here and it would all fit in the bag. So it's quite compact, but we need to figure out how it works. So I'm hoping this is the instructions. So we use this separately, it looks like, so it's not plugged in. This is the bit that will heat up and it's curved to the shape of a hat. This is your rest for safety purposes when you're not using it, because obviously the heat is still going to be coming out at the bottom. You don't want to be putting it on your table. And then this lid, and this is your pressing mat, if you can believe, goes on here. So what happens is, you pop one on top of the other. There's some little elastics on the end, and you just pop those over there. And that's your pressing mat ready to go. So you're like this essentially. But before we actually give that a try, I need to show you what I'm working with in terms of materials, the caps I've chosen, and the designs that I've ordered to go on the caps. I've ordered some DTF transfers, which will be a lot easier to work with than sublimation, as I've done with the tumblers. Thank goodness. So let me show you. Okay, so because everything in my wildflower collection has this kind of creamy background, I've gone for two creamy coloured caps because it's really hard to see online what they're going to look like, and I already know which one I prefer now they're here in person. I bought two of each to do tests with, and they are these ones. Now it's figuring out which is which. I prefer this one. I think that's a good match to like the creamy colour that I've been using throughout the collection, but I'll still use this other one as a test. So this one, oh, see, this is going to be the problem now. How do I figure out which is which? Okay, so this colour is sand, apparently. Does that look like sand to you? And this colour is natural. I probably would have guessed they were the other way around, but I like this one. I like this one the best. It's still got the cardboard in, but we like, and it's got like an adjustable thingy at the back, and it's a 5 panel, so you see like where it's sewn down, it's made up of 5 panels, which means sometimes it's 6 panels and there's a seam there, and I thought that might make it more difficult in terms of pressing something over the top, so I haven't done that. I haven't gone for a 6 seam, I've gone for a 5 seam. It's messing up my French braid. They come with these cardboard things in, and I kind of feel like I might leave it like that for pressing, just so it's a bit firmer, but I don't know if that's going to mess with the pressing mat, so we'll see. But I can take it out temporarily. It also has mesh at the front to like give it more structure and whatever, and also like for cleanliness and stuff. So those are the caps. I think I'm going to go with this one, but we will still test on these just to see how the transfers do. It is 12 days to Stationery Fest, and that makes me want to cry. So Let's open the DTF transfers. I had a lot of back and forth with Supercolour about this because I just wanted a sample, and it was same for the hat transfers that they only did a minimum of 10. And I was like, but what I want is 5 different things, just one sample. But every time you have a new bit of artwork, they were like, oh no, you have to order another 10. I was like, I'm going to spend a fortune here just to figure out which ones I like the most. So they agreed to do some samples for me. I've paid a lot more than like what you would, but obviously I haven't had the minimum order. But now it looks like there's 10 in the packet, so I'm really confused. Yeah, I agreed it with one person, and then another person emailed me and they didn't know about it, and there was just a lot of back and forth. So as long as I've got something to test, we'll be okay. Let me show you what I've sent. Now, if you follow me on Instagram, or if you don't, you should, because I have been doing polls over there. Obviously, I went live to ask about the tumblers, and I put a post on the other day with 2 wild and free illustrations, and I asked people which ones they preferred, and that was because it's for the caps. So this is them, and I've basically got 2 designs, and I've got them in a bigger size and a smaller size, and I'm going to see which one I prefer on the caps. And then I've got a little sunshine lane, and I was going to see if I like having that kind of here on the back or whether that feels unnecessary. I also don't know if it would end up too high, but we can see. This is more than 10. It's 20. Now I don't feel so bad about what I paid for it, but obviously I'm not going to need 20 of all 5. But I am going to be able to, whichever one I choose, I'll have another 19 off, if that makes sense. So I'll cut these up. I need to also go through the Instagram comments because there were loads of comments on that post and figure out which one people like the most. So I'm going to insert that at the end of this video. For now, let's try the hat press, because I'm excited. So I first turned on the heat press and waited for it to reach the right temperature. Then I put the hat onto the hat press with the peak facing upwards as it directs you to do in the instructions, and used heat resistant tape to tack the DTF design to the cap. I cut a piece of butcher paper to lay over the top between the DTF and the press, and then I held the power button for 2 seconds, which starts the countdown. I held the press down firmly over the design for 10 seconds. I then tested the DTF by trying to peel it back slightly, but it wasn't fully adhered, so I taped it back into place and I repressed. This also didn't seem to work, and I had a long journey of trying to figure out the correct time, temperature and method. Luckily, you can't really overpress DTF transfers, and so I carried on resticking and pressing until I found my way with the press. I had to turn the temperature up higher and press for longer than it said in the instruction booklet. In the end, I settled on 380 degrees for 40 seconds and leaving it to cool before peeling. Something I did keep doing by accident was turning it off instead of starting the timer, and I never quite got used to that one yet. My first peel was not fully successful, and my poor butterfly lost a wing. Oh, he's lost a wing. But I was close. I then put the hat on the press the opposite way around, as I wanted to try pressing my logo onto the back. After struggling to hold the heat press, it then came to me that I could have just unfastened the strap and made it all a lot easier, so that's what I did. While that was cooling down, I started a new cap and remembered that with my tote bags, I always pre-press the bag first before applying the DTF transfer, and so I tested doing that with the cap. Spoiler alert, this made things so much better. I applied my transfer, covered with the butcher paper, and pressed for 40 seconds. This time I also moved the press as I went, applying pressure from different angles. This ended up being the most satisfying peel, but my camera battery died. You'll have to trust me on that one. I then put the butcher paper back over the top and did a final press to make sure everything was firmly in place. How cute is that? This peel wasn't quite as satisfying, but it was a close second. Look how good they turned out. I honestly had a much harder time figuring this out than I thought I would, and not helped by the fact that there aren't that many videos yet about the manual hat press. And so I had to just use what I'd learned from the different heat presses I'd tried to try and figure out what I wasn't doing quite right, because it just would not transfer very well at first. However, what changed it for me was when I preheated the cap first. So I took just the cap, no transfer on it, and for about 10 seconds I just moved it back and forth over the cap, just blank, so that when you put the DTF on it, you're not putting it on a cold surface, you're putting it on an already preheated surface. Like I would do with my tote bags, I preheat them and then I apply the DTF transfer and press it. So once I kind of had that thought in my mind, everything went much, much better. I had to press it for a lot longer than it said on the instructions for the DTF. And I think probably because it is a manual press and I'm not that strong, it was taking a lot more time to actually transfer. But the other thing I actually found made it easier was moving it as I was going, so moving it around. I had kind of thought that just put it down completely firm and that will be the best way to do it, that we shouldn't be like rocking it back and forth like an iron. But then I did watch a few videos on Cricut's version of the hat press, which is different. You don't have the same temperature controls, I believe, and it's a different kind of setup, but it is a manual curved press. And I saw a few people moving it and I did kind of think to myself, well, actually that might make a difference, because however I'm leaning down on it, I don't know if it's applying an even pressure everywhere depending on exactly where I'm putting my weight, if you see what I mean. And so being able to sort of apply it at all different angles and apply pressure during like a longer time seemed to work really well. And then also leaving the DTF and peeling it cool seemed to work really well. So let's show you the difference in the different designs and then I'll give you my thoughts overall. So the first two I did were the sandy coloured hats, and I did the smaller transfers on these. And when I was doing the smaller transfers, I thought, I think those big ones are going to be too big when I get to doing those. But if we just compare the size difference, I actually prefer the bigger size. But this is how the little ones turned out. I will sample it for you. So this is how the little ones turned out. You can see it says wild and free, but yeah, it doesn't make as big an impact as, say, this. Whoops, I've done that one too tight for my big fat head. There we go. That's much better, I think, and like in a good position. It's not like too wrapped around so you can see it. I took a cap that I had when I was measuring it and kind of measured the design on that and went from there, and I think that looks pretty cool, even if I do say so myself. Unfortunately on this one I did lose a wing. That was before I perfected the peel, but what are you gonna do? It's not too bad, and a little bit of the banner's peeled back. But as with all these things, the big takeaway from this video is when you're trying new machines, or even the same machines with different materials, it's a lot of trial and error, and that's okay. You've got to have it in your head that you're going to have to spend money on that research and development phase of bringing a new product to market. You have to go through trying the different samples to perfect the technique and to find a design that you're happy with. And that's something that I've definitely learned through this video. I kind of knew it in there anyway, but it's definitely been a test of that, especially trying 3 new types of products in this video. No wonder I've been frustrated on and off today. But yeah, the small caps, I think they're too small, and it isn't my favourite backing colour, but I did have a experiment with the little Sunshine Lane transfer, and I was going to put it up here, and then I thought, well, that's almost on the top, and it did fit here. I lost a star, and this, unfortunately, is my grubby fingers. I will admit, I was eating a Rocky Road. I didn't realise I had Rocky Road on my thumb. And the reason it has a stripe through it is because that's where the sublimation tape was. I'm not afraid to share my shame with you. So I actually really like this on the back. I feel like it's not too intrusive on the cap, but it's still got branding on it. And I really love how it turned out. I might take the stars off because they're so small. Like if you see this one here, they are just so small that I'm not sure they add much. But then when you're left with just a little bit and it doesn't quite press, it's not the best look. And so I think if I just take those off and have Sunshine Lane on here, this is Velcro, it's adjustable. And if you had like a ponytail, your ponytail will cover it anyway. But I just think, look at that. But I just think on the back of here, like, it's not super intrusive to have the brand name just on this little channel. But I think an easy conclusion that I can draw is that I like the cream colour base and I like the bigger design. And I think I'm happy with the placement on both of them. They're both quite central. If we look, this hand can be the other hat model. So it's just a case of which one we prefer, really. So this is the design I did first. This is the design that I designed first, and it's got more flowers on it. It's got this kind of overlaps the banner. It's got these other 1, 2, 3 here that overlap the banner, and then the butterflies flying in. On this one, as well as swapping a few of the colours around a bit, I've still got this one that overlaps, but then I've swapped out, these two have gone, and I've swapped this one for a flower that's facing upwards, and I've brought the butterfly in to meet it as if the butterfly was maybe going to land on the flower, and I've changed some of the colours around, and I really like how it looks. So I've just done a count up of the Instagram post where I had done A versus B in terms of the designs. So design A is this one with more little flowers on, and then I did design B because I was a bit worried that some of the detail might get lost on A with it being shrunk down, but actually this is still quite a decent size. So I think either is fine. So I went over to Instagram to count up the votes, and I have my trusty count here, and I am pleased to announce that design A is the winner with 39 votes to B's 11 votes. So a landslide victory. However, some people had some comments on I like A but, and quite a few people said they prefer design A, but they liked the colours better on this one, and they liked the white daisy. They liked that it was more like a daisy, which I do actually really like, that it looks like a daisy. My question, I suppose, is do you still feel the same now that it's on a creamy coloured cap? But I can have a play around with the positioning of the colours. I haven't got too long because I really need to order these and get them pressed ready for stationery first, because I'd like to bring some with me. And I also like that for design B, I added these little lines on the butterfly just to add a bit more interest on the wings, whereas on A, it didn't have that. I don't know. I quite like that that's just a pop of colour. Maybe the lines detract from it being a pop of colour. I don't know. You can let me know your thoughts in the comments, but it looks like a variety of this cap is going to be the winner. And I, for one, am very pleased with that, and I'm pleased with how they turned out. So it was a lot of wrestling with the press to get used to it, but once I had the knack, it was actually quite easy. Once I've really got it down, I may well do a tutorial video, even just like on Reels, like a short, really snapshot tutorial of like the best tips and tricks so that you can get used to it. And overall, I think the hat press is a hit. I really like that it packs away really compact, and that part of the case that it comes in is also the pressing mat. I think that's really cool. I love the curve of it and the fact that you can more easily add pressure at different angles around the cap. I just think as a tool for this specific purpose, it does work really well. In terms of the cons, of which there aren't really many, I would say for me, with it being manual, I do struggle a bit more with the manual presses with having fibromyalgia because I get tired, I haven't got a lot of strength in my upper body. But if that's not the case for you, that's not going to be a problem. And actually, in the end, I was pressing for 40 seconds and that was kind of fine for that amount of time. And I did find it easier once I was moving it around. So it wasn't that I couldn't do it, that I couldn't use it. I will still carry on using it. I don't think it's gonna, you know, cause a major flare-up of my health problem, but if you know strength in your upper arms is a problem, then maybe bear that in mind over some of the ones that you clamp down and then it does all the work for you, but you're gonna pay a much, much bigger price for those, which is obviously also a factor. The other con, which is such a silly little thing, is that you press the on button once to turn it on, right? And then you hold it down for 2 seconds, if it'll do it because it's not preheated. Then it starts counting down the time. But it's the same button, and the amount of times that I just pressed it once and turned it off instead of starting the timer was probably more than 50% of the time, and it was winding me up. But I'm sure I'd get used to it. It's just that on the mug press and the auto heat press, which are the same range, because even though this is Loklik and they are HTVRONT, I believe Loklik is the UK kind of arm of HTVRONT and they sell a lot of the machines to the UK market. So yeah, even though they're kind of part of the same range, the tumbler press and the heat press have a separate button for go, whereas on this, it's the power button. The muscle memory was like overriding it then, and I was just pressing it once and realizing I'd switched it off. So that's just a little niggle, but on such a small item, obviously adding another button is going to be a bit different. And I think for me, overall, I just love that it gives you that even heat with it having the curve. So a huge, huge thank you to Loklik for trusting me with this machine and trusting me to test it out and show you guys how it works. As you know, I will always give you the real trial, and so I think that's good because you learn from my trials and tribulations and you won't make the same mistakes. If you want to give the hat press a try, full price it is £71.99, but there's currently £10 off, and I will leave all the links in the description that you need to bag one for yourself, and you can have hours of fun creating caps, all different kinds of hats. It doesn't have to just be a baseball cap, and it'll be a new toy for your craft room / business that I know a lot of you crafters and or business owners absolutely love a new machine to get to grips with. So big thank you, Loklik. So as for this vlog, like I said, my absolute main takeaway is be prepared with new product development, that it's going to take time, money, materials. A lot of all three. But I do think it's so important to be able to trial some sample products before you invest in buying a load of one thing and then realizing that the design doesn't work or the material doesn't work, for instance. And that's why I think having these machines available is so good, because it means that I can trial in my business making different types of products, and maybe in the future I will get certain products manufactured externally if they turn out to be a big seller. But it's much better for me to be able to start new products in small numbers by manufacturing them in-house than to try and invest in a whole load of new products manufactured externally that then sit on my shelves and don't sell, because that is a real risk for small businesses. So I love what I've created in this video, and I hope you do too. Please let me know in the comments what you think of the new products and whether you will be bagging any of the products that I have developed in this video. I will continue to perfect them and I will share that as I go. But we have our snazzy hat, and I am so looking forward to having my hat and my iced coffee and like matchy because that's just the kind of person I am. I absolutely love this tumbler. I cannot wait to get more and do those final tweaks to the designs. And the same with my stainless steel tumbler. I really like the design I ended up with, and I just need to nail that last 5% until I get them absolutely beautiful for Stationery Fest, which is 12 days time. So I am going to disappear and edit this vlog. Next week I will be showing you more of my countdown to Stationery Fest, which is going to be very, very busy. So take care until then. Please like and subscribe and do all those wonderful things because it's helping my channel to grow, and I absolutely love sharing my small business journey with you on YouTube. I learned so much from people sharing their journeys, and I hope that you can learn a little bit from my journey too, even if it's not to make the same mistakes. So take care, and I will see you next week. Bye everyone.